So overall, the War Within's going well. The team is looking to smooth out pain points in some dungeons, as well as look at class balance. Yeah, may want to get on that. Okay, Delves.
Yes, here we go.
Players hit level 8 Delves and earn powerful rewards, making them feel like there's no point in doing anything below Mythic 7, which is already fairly hard. Mythic 7 isn't the best entry point for new players, so some are hitting a cliff wall instead of doing earlier Mythic Plus tiers. The Mythic Plus Crest gearing system meets almost all the team's design goals, except for clarity and intuitiveness.
Yep.
Which are the big ones for the players. The team wants to fix the names and add some tutorialization. It should be logical what to do with crests. Yeah, I think the whole... I mean, Valor points and Justice points. One is blue, one is purple. That just made a lot of sense to people. I think some people, they're like, what is a carved Harbinger's crest, stone, crest box, crest signal? What's going on? Help. You know, you just throw so many words at somebody. It's like you're a new Destiny player and you're just absolutely, waterboarded with proper nouns.
Yeah, I think it's almost all the design goals except for clarity and intuitiveness. I think that the one issue that kind of continually frustrates me with them is part of the design goal they solve, right?
Oh.
So I think fixing the names, add some tutorialization. They already have tutorials. I think one of the struggles they really have more than anything else is crafting items and how they relate in terms of cost and in terms of getting them, in terms of
A lot of players
availability.
straight up do not like working with the new crafting system.
Yeah, I think the crafting system in terms of how it interacts with gear should probably go, at least in the higher end of this tier.
I agree. I think what I've noticed is crafting's really fun when you're just doing it yourself and progressing for the sake of the crafting. I think they need to go more along those lines and work out other things for crafting to do than just the power loop of the game. Anyway, go on ahead.
Yes, the other thing that I think is frustrating with them is how much they're, how to put it, you can use them wrong. You can use them extremely ineffectively. It's kind of the problem
Your
I
crests.
have. Yeah, your crests, yeah. And I think it's down to, that's like the point, right? The point of the system is you earn what's supposed to feel like backup progress, but it's also actual progress. So, like as Dakar points out in chat, there's no point in using a gilded crest on a hero item until you get a myth item.
Yeah.
And it's all those little tiny things of, you can do this wrong, you can mess this up, you can make mistakes, you can make permanent mistakes that will put your progress back, not by very long, by a week at most, effectively, right? But it's that fear, it's that I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
There's so much complexity in how the system actually interacts.
It's mental fuzziness, but it's a fuzziness that's not warm and cuddly. It's a fuzziness that's like asbestos, where you zoom in on it and it's actually really jagged and scary, where I think people, they don't even know it's going to be a week or two, but they just think about it and they're like, oh dear, my working memory has now been full. I'm going to put that down and not engage. Which, I mean, it's a game. You maybe... Because it's often so easy for, whenever you're playing this game every single day and you know absolutely everything about it, to be like, oh, people just don't understand because they don't fucking pay attention. All the information's there on the internet. But bro could be a nuclear physicist in day life. And maybe the reason why they're going to play some World of Warcraft is because they've just done their nuclear physics for the day and they will like to chill and they don't want to think about their crests.
Yeah,
That's actually... I'm not going to go on a tirade, but that is a way bigger point in my head. Actually, God, it comes from a quote from Tony Blair of just politicians not understanding that the public does not think about them or their flipping policies. So, as a politician, you really need to focus on, like, the rare times they do actually think about you. Try to make it in your terms. Sensible. And it's just that idea of other people are, like, entirely... full humans. They're not just like tiny little, one CPU cycle things that exist in your personal simulation. And whenever we're designing systems like this and we're getting like really, nerdy into the details, you forget that the other person my joke of nuclear physicist, but maybe they've also, say, been digging foundations for an entire day and your body's just fucking tired.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have to grapple with all of that. So, totally.
Yeah, it's I don't know if there's a particularly fix with that. I think obviously a way to refund things you spent later, and a kind of okay, well now you get an upgrade, but then that makes upgrades not feel good. So they are a little bit of the stuck between a rock and a hard place of where is progression in the system coming from, and their answer is kind of it's kind of we want gear to feel better than crests, but we don't want to lock you to needing gear. Realistically, and I think it works in the experience. When you throw away giving a shit about min-maxing, and I don't mean this in a just don't worry about it, bro. I mean it's a personal thing. You have to kind of take that kind of well, I don't give a shit, and that's maybe a fault on their end where they're like, oh well, our player's not fully engaging with our system, and they're having a better time when they go, this is too bullshit for me. I'll just play the game and get my gear, because I was frustrated by it. And I ended up kind of disconnecting from wanting any better gear until I just got it all from getting gear in raid. And then I would go every 2 weeks and go and spend all my crests and go, oh, look, I'm maxed out now, whatever. But obviously I know that's not the experience people have, and the experience they need to make sure is good is people go, oh, here's a gearing system. How do I want to engage with this? Yeah. I don't want to shy away from it because I'm afraid of making a mistake. I want to go in and go, fucking give me my good shit. Yeah, let's go. I got this. Yeah, I'm so excited. Some of that might be Valor Stone changes.
Playing a bit of Elden Ring, when you go to upgrade I went to upgrade my weapon for the first time, and I needed both runes and a smithing stone. And I guess that's the current idea that they've got here.
Yeah, it works in theory, it works in essence, and in every way it's kind of there.
It's a different game.
Yeah, so I agree with them going, it fits almost all the design goals. I just think there's a little bit of finessing to do in terms of the balance between currencies, and also the, I guess the difference between getting gear as a reward and getting crests as a reward. Yeah. Even if there's some way to I don't even know if the refund would work, because that would kind of make things feel weird, but something along the lines of making it feel like if you put a crest in, you don't feel like an asshole if you get it dropped the same day, which is one of the ultimate problems with it.
Yeah, and one thing that could fix that is some form of scrapper, but the second you add something like a scrapper, it solves a player problem, but it introduces a crazy amount of potential complexity.
Yeah, you want to reduce complexity to improve the system, not add a complexity. It's already too complex.
There's an easy way to do that. Mm-hmm. I think they need to, at least from the hero level onward, stop having crosstalk between tiers of difficulty.
Yeah, nothing annoys me more than having a hero 4 out of 6.
Yeah, big 4 out of 6, Andy.
Yeah, and going, well, how do I solve this? I play content that I don't want to play. Shit, I don't want to do that. Or I wait and get basically my free crest, my free gildeds.
Yeah.
For doing the end heroic tier bosses.
And whenever, have it so that I can get 6 out of 6 hero with whatever my normal crests. I was about to say Drake crest. No, they're not Drake worm crests. Oh, that's actually the problem. What type of Harbinger crest am I talking about?
It's even stones.
Stones, crests, bones.
You want to call them flight stones. And you want to call them Valor Stones, but you don't want to call them Valor, and you don't want to call them Stones. You're like,
It's ideally you'd want to call them fuel, and then something that makes sense for an upgrade. So it's I want to do this thing, and I've got this much fuel, because that's what the stones on. Or you want something where it is inherently the name inherently explains what they are and what they do, I suppose. So even if you think about. The reason why I say that, right?
Yeah.
You want it to be intuitive. Because if you give somebody a Valor Stone and you give them a crest, I don't know about you, but in my daily life, I don't have any Valor Stones and I don't have any crests. They're completely made up. I have no idea what they are. Whereas...
I don't know. I fully agree. I get where you're coming from, but this is also fantasy world. You can't turn and go, you've got... Valor fuel and and engine enhancers.
I'm not being like that. No.
It's
it needs to fit in the universe.
Using the real world comparisons, I think a bit awkward. It's going to be difficult to find something that's an upgrader without calling it your upgrader stone. You've got a Valor upgrader.
Well, they need They need some sort of idea like that. Or valor stones and justice stones. Imagine picking up a rock. This is a rock of justice, but this is a rock of valor.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the thing. They wanted it to feel grounded in like an actual item, so they called them flight stones. Like, okay, these exist in the world as opposed to an abstraction on your currency bar. So it's just, I think the issue they had with stones was they were flight stones and now valor stones.
You're just being drowned in objects.
It's not even just that, it's that the common name is stones. And you're like, well, that's a shit name for a common thing.
Yeah.
Flight stones works. Valor stones works. But if you've experienced both, you have to shard them to stones. Now you're like, I've got stones? What?
I can't wait.
What, like in your shoes? Like what?
We go to patch 11.1 and they're like just called money stones.
Like they'll be called valor stones again because they've changed it so they'll be valor stones going forward. That works. So it's like crests being not in 12 different forms with like enchanted, runed, harbinger, nascent crest of power. I don't know. You know what I mean? There's some fixes there. I don't know what I would call them, but yeah.
I think you should just go with like, there's a bit of me that almost says you turn this from 5 currencies into 3 currencies, and you've got one that's your newbie currency, then you've got your normal mode currency, your heroic mode currency, and then mythic is just top. That's it.
Yeah.
And then what you do though is you don't have them be the way they are right now. It's just 3 currencies like valor stones. Do content, get the currency just like valor points and justice points, upgrade your gear. That's it, simple. And you just cut the top off it because you just don't really need the top. And if you're doing the best content, it's probably cool. That gives you the best gear.